Over to you.
Good morning, council members-elect. I would like to welcome you to this inaugural meeting of the Township of Algonquin Highlands. A special welcome to our guests of the council members-elect. I'm sure it's encouraging for the members-elect to see the support shown today, and no doubt the same support will continue to be needed over the next 4 years. To the members-elect, on behalf of myself and all of the municipal staff, I congratulate you on your respective elected offices. We look forward to working with you and for you over the next 4 years. I'll turn it over to you.
We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Algonquin Highlands is located on Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations. We also acknowledge a historical shared presence of other Indigenous nations throughout the area. We recognize these original Indigenous inhabitants as the stewards of its lands and waters since time immemorial. So I'll now turn the meeting over to our clerk, Don Newhook, to listen to our declarations.
Thank you. Prior to any official business being conducted, it's necessary for each member elect to take the declaration of office. So now I'd like to ask each member to stand, please. And the written declaration is in front of each member. And I will ask each member to read out their oath aloud, and we'll start with Mayor-elect Liz Danielson.
I, Liz Danielson, have been elected to the office of mayor in the Township of Algonquin Highlands. Do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for any exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. I'll move to Councillor-elect Berry.
Thank you. Elisa Berry have been elected to the office of councillor for Ward 2 Stanhope in Township of Algonquin Highlands. Do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. Councillor-elect Richards.
I, Sabrina Richards, having been elected to the office of councillor for Ward 2 Stanhope in the Township of Algonquin Highlands, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. Councillor-elect Shortby.
I, Julia Shortreed, have been elected to the office of Councillor for Ward 1, Sherburne, in the Township of Algonquin Highlands, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received or will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and respect as if made under oath.
And Councillor Bayou.
I, Jennifer Dayu, having been elected to the office of Councillor for Ward 3, McClintock, Livingston, Lawrence, and Nightingale in the Township of Algonquin Highlands, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
I now declare each member qualified to conduct the official business of Township of Algonquin Highlands for the next 4 years. It is my honor now to turn the meeting over to Mayor Danielson.
Thank you. I've written my comments down because I want to get it right. Hopefully this chair won't take too long to adjust to its new occupant. I did keep Carol's chair. We've got a thing about our chairs and I thought, well, I'm just going to keep Carol's chair. Before I go any further, I'd like to offer my sincere thanks to the people who went above and beyond to help me in my bid for mayor. My small but mighty campaign team, my many supporters from across the county, and everyone who voted for me. I am truly humbled, proud, and grateful, and I promise to give it my all to represent our community and its needs. I'd also like to offer my thanks to our outgoing Mayor Moffat. Carol has moved this community forward with such passion and dedication. It's been a difficult term given the pandemic, staff shortages, supply chain issues, and through all of that, combined with a variety of other challenges, she led us with strength and grace, continuing to make Algonquin Highlands one of the best places a person could wish to live. Congratulations are also due to all of you on your election. I truly mean that and look forward to working with you all. Whether you were elected by acclamation or in your run for a Ward 2 seat, this has been a tough race, and I must say I truly envy those who were acclaimed. This particular election has been difficult for many of us, not just here, but across the country. We are seeing changing attitudes and behavior that I am hoping are not a showcase of our best selves. At times, that behavior has been hurtful to some, and it is my hope that those of us sitting here, in fact, all of us, can rise above inappropriate comments and actions that may be aimed at any of us in our decision-making going forward. Anyone who has tossed their name into the political ring, even at this level, learns quickly that while you can please a good percentage of the residents, whether seasonal or full-time residents, we can never please everyone. If there is a divide, then we need to work to close that gap and assure everyone that we're making decisions in the best interest of the municipality overall, something that I truly believe we've always done. This is a new day for us all. Even though we still have 4 of the same members on our council going forward, the energy and dynamics will no doubt be quite different. We have a new member in Sabrina, who's really excelled during her bid for Ward 2 councillor. We have a new mayor, and we will have a new deputy shortly. I'm very much looking forward to us finding our path together, to setting new priorities for our term, and working as a team to achieve goals and objectives that we set, and then stand strong as a single body once we've made our decisions. We already know that we have some big ticket things to address, and it's my sincere hope that we're all ready to roll up our sleeves and work hand in hand with our staff to meet the challenges we face over the next 4 years. And now is an opportunity for each one of you to make comments about the term going forward. So we'll start with Lisa Berry.
Printed out all my freedom of information stuff, so I didn't print this. I guess first I'd like to thank my family for their unwavering support as I enter my 12th year on council. I also would like to express a heartfelt thank you to my community for their support, encouragement, and trust in my ability. I take this role seriously, and I'm honored to serve and represent the entire municipality. I want to congratulate our newly elected Mayor Danielson, who brings a wealth of experience and passion to the role. Additionally, our acclaimed councillors Dayu and Shortry. I welcome Councillor Richards to representing Ward 2 with me, and I look forward to having a new voice and view at the table. Lastly, I'm grateful to be working with such a dedicated staff and recognize the hard work that they do on a daily basis. Part of the inaugural meeting is swearing allegiance to the crown. As I respect the process, I would also like to acknowledge my dedication to our ancestral roots and heritage here in the Highlands. I will continue being a steward and recognize the importance of making policies and decisions that impact generations to follow. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. Councillor Richards.
It is said that the measure of success is not whether you have a tough problem to deal with, but whether it's the same problem you had last year. One of the most interesting statements I received was from a lake association stating that it was a surprise to know that the questions from the 2010 election remain the same. It is my hope that 4 years from now, the same statement cannot be said of this council. Within the community, I felt that I had a unique position in being able to see all sides, whether they were permanently living here or seasonal residents or our businesses. And I think the results of the election clearly showed that I did have that intuition and that the community stood behind me in doing so. So I am honored that they selected me to be here today. And I hope that my background and my drive to make things better for our community brings us forward to having a successful 4 years.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Congratulations to everyone who's back. Sabrina, for your election, Liz for being mayor. I think that going forward, we're going to have a busy 4 years. COVID has set us behind in a lot of projects and we have wonderful staff. So I think without any other surprises along the way that we'll be busy, but we will get a lot of work done.
That's the goal.
Thank you very much. And I have many words coming up in a little bit later on in the meeting, so I will save many of those words for then. I just take the moment, this moment to congratulate Liz, obviously, in your successful bid as mayor, to congratulate Lisa and Sabrina in your elections, and Sabrina, to offer you the warmest of welcomes to our council. I really look forward to working with you, and I really look forward to how you challenge us to be improved versions of ourselves with your clear intelligence, your clear dedication, your clear, fresh eyes. I think you're going to be a tremendous asset to this group and to our township. So I really welcome you with open arms and hearts.
Thank you. Those are pretty uplifting words from everyone. I'll turn the meeting back over to our clerk to run or seek nominations for deputy mayor.
Thank you. So the process for the election of the deputy mayor, I'm going to begin with calling 3 times for nominations. If a nomination is received, that's considered the mover, and then we need a seconder to support that nomination. So we'll start with that. So I'm going to call the first time for nominations for deputy mayor.
I will nominate Councillor Dayu.
Is there a seconder?
I will second.
Okay. I'll call a second time for nominations for deputy mayor. And a third time for nominations for deputy mayor. Councillor Dayu, do you accept the nomination of deputy mayor?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to call 3 times now for the close of nominations and then request a motion from council to close the nominations. First time, close the nominations for deputy mayor. Second call, close for nominations for deputy mayor. Third call for close of nominations for deputy mayor. May I have a seconder, please?
Mover and a seconder to accept the nomination,
We're just closing the,
to close the nominations. Sorry.
a lot of steps.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Barry.
By Councillor Shoreby, second by Councillor Barry, be it resolved the nominations for position of deputy mayor be closed.
All in favor? That's carried. I've got to say this process is just a tiny bit rusty because we have not actually gone through this process, I think, for as long as maybe at least 16 years. So it's interesting to get it back on the floor. So the next opportunity is for you to speak to your nomination, if you so desire.
Thank you, Julie and Lisa, for your nominations. There are certain practical reasons why I feel confident to put my name forward for the deputy mayor position. First, I believe having someone from the north of on county council for the first time in 12 years would be a positive change. Second, I have a solid pre-existing knowledge of the ongoing files and challenges ahead here in Algonquin Highlands, so my mental bandwidth is ready to take on the additional workload of the upper tier. Third, and most importantly, I have made full use of the last 4 years to build up active, constructive relationships with constituents across all 14 lake communities in Ward 3. While this process is ongoing, because it's never meant to be finished, I am ready to scale that up. But in addition to these practical advantages, I request your consideration of the philosophy I commit to upholding when representing this council and your constituents at the upper tier. I speak with constituents a lot. I visit their properties a lot. I listen to how our policies affect their lives here. I have struck that crucial balance of sincerely acknowledging their frustrations and with equal sincerity, standing up for the integrity of this township and the decisions of this council. I make it a deliberate point to not take sides. Every experience I've had over the last 4 years, without exception, has proven that taking someone's side is not a prerequisite for creating trust, nor for representing that individual fairly. This recognition has been nothing short of liberating. Not taking sides frees me to sit comfortably inside complexity. There is complexity in everything, and embracing that complexity, tackling it head on, is not just our job, it makes for much stronger policy outcomes. After all, we don't just represent the people who voted for us and our beliefs, we also represent those who voted actively against us. But remaining authentically open to all perspectives is a learned skill. It takes practice and an intentional transfiguration of mindset. This approach has become the cornerstone of my relationship building in Ward 3, and it will continue to be as I represent your constituents at the county. The final point I would like to make regarding my approach is this. Council is consensus driven. It is my resolute belief that you cannot create consensus with stones in your pockets. Stones are used for teaching someone a lesson without hearing them first. I will not throw stones in any direction. I will not show disrespect. If anyone, constituent, staff, or councillor wants my attention, they will receive it with openness and a lack of judgment. They will be heard and they will be honored. Some might be tempted to call that weak, but heaven help the individual who confuses a lack of stones with a lack of grit. While I had originally planned to end my remarks here, I'd like to take another moment to discuss the shoreline preservation bylaw. The development of this legislation was contentious, and many people cast their ballot on the back of it. So I would like to make my position on it very clear. For all the reasons that people from every corner of this debate have already agreed, investing in lake and shoreline health and in the preservation of intact ecosystems is the longest term, highest return investment that we could ever make in our community, hands down. To this end, In the last several years, County Council has invested hundreds of staff, council, and consultant hours into finding a foothold in this broad and elusive task. It was a hard slog, and neither the process nor the outcome were perfect. But would I vote to repeal it? No. What we have is the beta version of a policy that is now going to be tried, tested, and assessed. Would I support opening it back up? Absolutely, yes. I think reviewing it will be fundamental, but not before we've collected some hard data, which includes the real-life experiences of property owners, planners, and builders, and other groups who are directly affected by the legislation, in addition to the successes and gaps it demonstrates in achieving what it sets out to do. Now, here's the crucial part, what the bylaw sets out to do. I think this has possibly been the source of the greatest confusion and angst over the past few years. What the bylaw sets out to do is extremely limited, and that's on purpose. The shoreline preservation bylaw is a planning instrument. A planning instrument is any statutory document regulating development. That's it. That's its sole job. Public education, partnerships, collaborations, the development of seed banks, shoreline garden competitions, they all have a major role to play in strengthening our shorelines. And I am inclined to believe that this whole process would have been better served had we led with them rather than diving straight into the body of regulatory work. They have a definite home here, but they don't belong in a planning instrument. That work begins now. I see this as a two-day mountain. Creating the beta version of the bylaw was, I believe, the hardest part. That was the first day of the climb. But if you don't reach the peak on the first day, you don't head back to base and try again from the beginning the following morning. You set up camp, you regroup, you rest, you change up your gear. And with your new tools in hand, you make your attempt on the summit the next day. You have my full commitment to making the second day a success. Thank you for hearing me out and for your trust in my ability to represent you and your constituents well.
Thank you. So I guess the next step is the mover and a seconder for the bylaw. Is that correct?
And then do a mover and seconder to make the appointment, and then all right, we'll just call for the vote for support, and then we'll have a motion to appoint Councillor Dayu as deputy mayor, followed by a motion to adopt the bylaw.
Okay. So could I have a show of hands to elect Deputy Mayor Dayu, Councillor Dayu as our deputy mayor? That's carried. Thank you.
So I'm just going to move on a second.
Could I have a mover and a seconder for the bylaw? Councillor Shortreed, Councillor Perry.
Moved by Councillor Berry, second by Councillor Shortreed. Be it resolved that Jennifer Dayu be appointed as deputy mayor for the Township of Algonquin Highlands for the 2022-2026 term of council.
All in favor? That's carried. Congratulations. You may be sorry what you've asked for.
And we'll do the bylaw, please.
Okay, mover and a seconder for the bylaw. I thought that's what we just did. I'm not sure that you can, you're
Okay.
talking about the bylaw to
To
to appoint,
yes,
yeah.
okay.
So Councillor Shortreed, Councillor Berry.
Moved by Councillor Shortreed, second by Councillor Berry. Be it resolved that bylaw 2022-110 being a bylaw to appoint Jennifer Dayu as deputy mayor of the Township of Algonquin Highlands for the 2022-2026 term of council in accordance with Minister's Order dated March 6, 2000 and the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 as amended be received and read a first time, considered read a second and third time, and finally passed with a corporate seal affixed.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Before we adjourn, I just want to thank all of you who have joined us. I know you're a small group, but this is a really big thing for us We haven't had any members of the public in our council chambers for some time. So it's nice to see some chairs and some faces. And nice to have you here to help us celebrate our election. And we will be having photographs after. So a group photo, a photo of each one of us for the website. And if you want to have a photo with your family member, we can do that too. So could I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Shortreed, Deputy Mayor Dayu.
Moved by Councillor Shortreed, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dayu. Be it resolved, the inaugural meeting of council hereby adjourned at 11:25 a.m.
All in favor? That's carried. I actually don't think that was the shortest meeting we've ever had.